Hey, George,
Yeah,
I'll add to that one thing, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, kind of indirectly. Is I think this football team, a lot like Michigan, I think they're more similar to Michigan than they are anybody else. But this football team at the quarterback position, Georgia, Stetson Bennett is, and then I don't think it's all him. I think he is limited in the weapons around him. Other than the freshman tight end, they're really
he's a
limited at the
baller.
wide.
You
Yeah,
talking
he's
about
a
my man
baller, no
Bowers?
question about it. No question about it. But they're limited outside. But nonetheless, I don't know that Georgia is set up to win a tight ball game down the stretch with Stetson Bennett and the talent around him. And I don't feel good at all if it gets into a shootout like it did tonight. And so you look at Michigan, I don't know if they can handle a shootout. And you look at Georgia, I don't know offensively I'm talking about, I don't know if they can handle a shootout.
I agree.
Right. And so I think that's one thing we saw tonight was Stetson Bennett really struggle in a big way when forced into an obvious passing situation. I don't know if that's going to fare too well in games that you can't always control the tempo once you get into the playoffs.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
I'm going to take it right to Hack. Bryce Young, Cade McNamara, Stetson Bennett, and our man Ritter at Cincinnati. Which of these four kids, who's under the most pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I think after today's result, it's got to be Stetson, and I think it's also because of the guy that's sitting behind Stetson. I know that the resume that JT has isn't as robust as you may think, but the skill set, and we talked about this way back when we did our first quarterback breakdown about JT. I think, to kind of echo what Clint was just saying, I think JT is built more and has the skill set more to be able to run that team from that standpoint, right? Stetson's had a hell of a run, and you can't take that away from him. He's done a great job of doing his job up until this point and managing games and not hurting the team. But, he got exposed a little bit today against a team that had a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. He did not say he did not play well. He did, but he had a few mistakes that hurt him. And when you don't have those killers outside that can consistently create separation, you need a guy who can make up for that gap. And I don't think Stetson is that guy. And I don't know if JT is either, because he hasn't ever necessarily been in that situation. But I do think when you watch JT throw the football that he has a little bit more of a robust skill set when it comes to that standpoint. So I think George is going to have an interesting standpoint or an interesting conversation coming into this.
Bennett has been the starter the last 5 weeks for Georgia. You think when they get in the playoffs, whoever they face, and everybody's coming with a fight, everybody's going to get met at the line, everybody's going to fight. If they go a couple series without scoring, you think there's a shot that they will just replace a healthy Stetson Bennett for JT Daniels at this point, since he's been rolling the whole month of November?
I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just making a point based on my observations. I could be completely full of shit, and you can call me out for that, whatever. But I do think that, as we've said on this show, and just watching the kid play and watching the way he operated last year, I think he does have a little bit more of a unique skill set when it comes to making up for the inefficiencies they have outside at times. And I just don't think that he ever got in a rhythm like Stetson did this year. So, you got a lot of time between now and the first round of the playoffs. And I just think it'll be something to keep an eye on.
No question. Bryce,
you damn right. You damn right. You're gonna keep an eye on it. I'm talking about JT in terms of spinning the rock around the park. He can dance circles around Stetson's ass. Ain't no doubt about it.
Yep.
Here's where I go. Yep. Here's why I offer something opposite both of you. Stetson, quite a few times tonight, got out of trouble, pulled it and got some praise
hell.
much quicker than I thought he was. Much quicker. And he's out there getting chased down by werewolves. He got
much
like
quicker than
four
what
first.
I thought he was. That's because that's a race car. That's because he's a white boy.
Hey,
George, serious business, George. Serious though. I mean, how in the hell is Kirby Smart not sitting in their meeting room right now? How is Kirby Smart not sitting there with the fellas going, "Hey man, I love Stetson. I know everybody in the room loves Bennett. I know we love him, but the ceiling's higher with JT Daniels behind the center. Period. That's a fact of the matter. That's the truth."
But
now,
they may have already done that because they're around both of these rascals all day, every day.
Fair, no question. But I tell you what, we all watched the same game about 3 hours ago that they're going to watch on film, and that offense has a low ceiling with Stetson Bennett taking snaps.
Very true.
And the ceiling, the potential goes up if JT Daniels – I'm not saying he's a better quarterback. I'm saying the ceiling of that offense goes up if he's quarterbacking. And so the conversation where I think Hack was going, the conversation damn sure has to be occurring in that coaching staff of, hey, man, we got some time to prepare here. Who do we go into this first game with behind center?
So we'll stay there then. Bryce, what kind of message does it send to the other 100 guys in that team room when Stetson got us here and we're going to the playoffs and he kept us on time and on track? And now, and JT's been right, that's our boy, but he's been too. If they swap, does that not send some caution all the way down the track to say we're spooked? We got to make a big change. You can't make a bigger change on a football team than swapping quarterbacks after you've been killing the whole world the whole season.
Look, if it gets me in between that and a national championship ring, I'm going to say, hey, you get paid the big bucks to make these decisions. If you're a manager, if you're, and Clint knows this because he covers the Astros too, man. And in playoff baseball, World Series, man, it's a totally different game from a manager's perspective. I mean, you're talking about moving guys in and out, based on who's batting left, who's batting right. You have to make some decisions that, in the regular season might not, hey, we can win against McMurray State with 13. But when it comes to playing a Michigan or it comes to playing a Cincinnati or whoever, we might need JT in there. And the fact of the matter is you have to do what you have to do to win. And so, the tough part is where, and again, I think we all have the same understanding, is that I don't think a whole lot of it is going to be, unless you have a Lamar Jackson in there or Pat Mahomes or whatever. If you don't have dudes on the outside, you don't have dudes on the outside. It doesn't matter whose arm talent is back there slinging the rock. If that dude can't win one-on-one, it don't matter. So that's where my only hesitation with that is, you see this guy on practice just like, anybody else does. Is he the best guy? Do you actually, interrupt that rhythm a little bit that rock puts in the water? That's my only thing. If you can't win on the outside, it doesn't matter. We know that we've got three, touted backs in our backfield. We run the ball and we play defense. And, we give the ball to Bowers, who's, dude, I've never seen a tight end as good as this kid is. And he's it is so stupid. Hell, I put him on the outside because I don't think they can cover him, right? If your fastest dude is a tight end, like, holy shit, you guys got issues. So anyways, all that being said, that's a rabbit hole. But I do think that, it comes down to, does this get in between me and a national championship ring? Kirby Smart's going to make the best decision to do that.
Hey, we're talking about a dude that averaged high teens in attempts this year and went undefeated.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on,
and
man.
I'll say this before we got to get to this Big 12 showdown, but I will say this, to Clint's point, Hack's point, Bryce's point, Nick Saban showed that a couple years ago in the most famous big call ever, swapping Hurts or putting Tua in for Hurts at halftime in a national championship game. And I know some folks that were in that room when he was talking to the team. And as the story goes, he said, if you got on the Alabama bus to come to this stadium tonight, you are up. Anybody that was on that bus, if you got off that bus and you're in here right now, you're up. And he looked down at 2 and he goes, starts with you. Starts with you. At halftime, paid off big. We all know how that played off. Maybe Kirby has some of that in him. Let's